And my firm, Neomotive Design Studio, is basically a practice which is young and enterprising. At least that's what we intend to do. Now, I've had the good fortune of listening to all these wonderful stories that yesterday, and I felt that we all had a common thread, and that was we had eyes in our dreams. Dreams in our eyes, sorry. Dreams in our eyes, and we were nurtured by our families to take these forward. So, I was blessed to share this opportunity and tell about my family and how they've nurtured me and my passion to become an architect. Now, with great aspiration post my graduation as an architect, I decided that I'm going to work for one of the leading design firms in Chandigarh. I felt that as a designer and a creative professional, I had more to offer to my firm in way of creativity and innovation, but it was somehow not getting put across. I felt I was working in a box. I wasn't growing. Now, what usually happens with these big design firms and architecture practices is that every employee has a specific role to fulfill in the organization. This is good for the employer because they get a work done in a systematic fashion. But for a creative and innovative individual, this is very detrimental for personal growth. For example, a person who's in charge of making doors, was designing doors, a person who was designing windows kept on doing that for all the projects. So there was no growth curve. There was no flexibility given to an individual to design. I thought I had to change this. So I decided I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to start my own firm. So after 3 years of working, I quit my job, I set up my own practice with just one sole agenda of doing creative and innovation-driven design. Now, I had no prior experience of business and my family is a working class family, so I just plunged into this business and understood that the biggest challenge is that we face is not of designing or putting across innovation. It's about making our clients understand it. It's to instill the confidence in people that creativity is good. You should embrace it. So we work towards enhancing our skill set so that we can make our clients understand that what we are doing for them is good. They did not recreate something or copy something which is going on. They had to embrace innovation. So technology became a great asset for us in this journey. And by using technology to develop photorealistic imagery and 3D simulations for our projects, we were able to involve and engage the client in the design process. Now, creativity did not intimidate them. It became their friend. If I could have certain slides I want to share what technology has done for us, I would like to show it to all of you. Excuse me?
Yeah, they're playing the slides.
Because it's a visual profession, I feel that we should not
allow it for visual profession.
Thank you.
Only architects.
Yes. So this is a visual 3D imagery that we did for a project, and this is the actual execution project. If you could go back to the previous slide, these are some of our completed projects. Yeah, so this is a 3D simulation done by us, and the next slide, and this is the actual project, which is almost same. So instead of just giving them an idea in terms of 2D drawings and mood boards, we decided that we would do photorealistic images. It's more effort, but we felt we were able to execute our work better through that. Thank you. So now this led to a lot of happy clients, but we felt we needed to expand our horizons, try to innovate more. So we decided to diversify our practice. We started engaging interdisciplinary professionals for capacity building. This not only ensured seamless execution of projects, which is a huge issue in our particular profession, but also helped us to embark on allied services such as furniture design and product design, thereby bringing us a step closer to our goal of being a holistic design studio. We are constantly reinventing ourselves by creating an engaging environment in our firm. I often tell my team that we are a workshop, not a workplace. I'm happy to share with you that in just 3 years of span, we have almost completed 30 projects designed and executed entirely by our firm. Be it a 50,000 square feet office space to a tree house for a 5-year-old, be it a bungalow design or a swanky gymnasium. This is just the beginning of a long journey. Before I sign off, I'd like to share a small anecdote. Recently, I celebrated my 30th birthday, and after a hearty family meal, my father asked me, "So are you satisfied now?" And there was an intended pun about my life as well in that question. And I replied to him with a big smile, "Dad, I'm still young and I'm still hungry." Thank you. So to illustrate on the point, workplace and workshop. So normally workplace is very regimented. This is something we don't like going to office because it's a 9-to-5 job. We don't like that we don't have flexibility, specifically for creative professions. So for our particular studio, we have just 2 set of rooms. We have a work hall area, which is where we design, we make 3D models, we do design discussions and dialogues, and a conference. We don't have a CEO room, we don't have another room. There is a conference room where we attend our clients, and there is a huge work studio which we design and explore ideas. So by doing that, I feel we created a democracy in our particular firm. It bridged the gap between your employee normally don't give you a very honest opinion about what they're doing. But by creating a dialogue in the same place, by making them understand you are also on the same agenda, they were able to give us honest critique, they were able to innovate, and we could also work through the process and design. So I felt that this is something, a new approach. It might not be very disciplined as big organizations, but for a creative and innovative profession, I feel it's need of the hour. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gurleen. I think you've truly taken your form very far in a very short span of time. Now I'd like to call on the podium Ms. Jasmine Gohil. Ms. Jasmine Gohil is the Vice Principal and Professor of the School of Architecture at Anand National University. So we have another architect.
Good morning. I especially feel honored and proud to be here because it took me a long to come over here and share my journey because I am from a very small town of Gujarat, which is Bhavnagar. And then from Bhavnagar, my journey as a student or as a professional started, and then I'm standing here in front of all of you and sharing my journey. Thank you, Harmina Arora, for inviting me in this honorable forum and sharing my journey. As I told you, I am from a very small town of Gujarat. At that time, we did not have so much of exposure to what is designing or even a profession called architecture. What is architecture? That was not so much familiar. And but yes, we were blessed that we were not from the journey of or the era of technology, so we were able to innovate while we were playing. We were doing small things, and at that time we were able to experiment with things. And then I took admission into architecture, and when I entered my school, I was always asked by my teacher that, "Jasmine, be creative, think out of the box, think out of the box." And then that's when I realized that what is the box? Because everybody talks about, it is a well-distinguished cliche that think out of the box, be innovative, but then to be innovative, it takes a long, you have to first understand what is the box. And it took me many days of research and, just thinking that let me first be clear that what is my box. And then I realized that I started to deconstruct the box. In my imagination, the box is always a rigid framework of walls and slabs, because being an architect, I always relate myself with building, So I started deconstructing it. And then I realized that the symbolism of a box is the belief, such as our cultures, our traditions, our stereotypes, our religion, our geographic condition, our climate, and all these factors this goes into creating our environment. So I realized that in order to think out of the box, we have to bring our basics correct, and then can shift to innovative ideas. Being in academics, I always advise my students that in order to create something, you have to be logical. You cannot just, if Mercedes is supposed to design something, they will not do innovation with the wheels, and it will just do the innovation with the comfort level. Means they will not, Mercedes is not going to come up with some vague idea that the wheel is going to be now square and not round. It has to be, they have to do the experiment with the form of the they will have to do the experiment with the form or the shape or the comfort of the luxury of it. So this approach has blessed me and enabled a small-town girl like me to stand in front of you with pride and passion, sharing my journey. I have my practice for more than 18 years, and then it has, I have come a long way, and then I think that, yes, thinking out of the box works, but first you have to bring your basics correct and you have to know your box. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Gohil. I love the push for logical innovation, so it's sustainable. Now I'd like to call on the podium Ms. Shraddhanjali Rao, who is the Vice President, Human Resources, SAP India, and also a member of the India Leadership Team. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Arora, for having me here. This is my debut as well. I think yesterday I could not attend the session. I had some customer commitments. I came over in the evening. It was around 6:30. What I intended to be a 10-minute peep in the door, look at people, say hello, had me fixed to that chair for 2 hours. It made my assistant very nervous. I was chatting with her on WhatsApp, planning my schedule, and then I went quiet for 2 hours. And she was like, "Are you okay? Should I send somebody? Like, are you fine?" I'll tell you what happened. I came in here, there was a panel going on, and people were sharing personal stories. Stories of hardships, stories of tragedy, things that I would probably not have imagined. And then it makes you reflect how they looked at that hardship and turned that around phenomenally, not just for themselves, but for the society. I mean, we had incredible people yesterday who spoke about, their own journey, their own learning, and what they've done. And it kind of, put me in my reflector seat and said, "Oh my God, what am I supposed to say tomorrow," right? So let me share. I think we've had great entrepreneurs here sharing their journey. You looked at my profile, which talks about the job I do. Let me share a little bit about myself, and I'll tell you what I bring from an innovation and out-of-box context in the organization I work with. So from my background, I come from a very middle-class family. My father was a defense officer and a colonel in the army. My mother was a homemaker. I am the youngest of the 5 daughters. Basically, at my time, they kind of gave up, right? You can imagine. That was the end. From that point in time, my father raised the 5 daughters like he would have raised the sons he never had. He made us ambitious. He made us break the rules. He made us say, "Go achieve." None of my sisters are a doctor or an engineer. One of them even served the Indian Army. And we were asked to go out and do things. But of course, you're a middle-class family, you have limited resources, you have to train, you have to do the best. Let me talk about my mom. My mom is the smartest person I've ever known, and I have known a lot of things. The reason she did not have a very high education, primary education. She never learned how to drive. She was never employed. She never stepped out of the house. At the end of retirement, my mother had more money than my father. And I will tell you how. So she used to save some money aside from the regular kitty that daddy would give her. And she started collecting this, and she would give it to the doodwala, the milkman, the newspaper guy, on times of need. Somebody getting married, additional expenses. She used to charge an interest. Alright? She was very smart, but she knew how to get the money. She never stepped out of home. It's not that every time the money came back, but she took risks. She took that call to do the additional stuff, and she understood. She had 5 daughters. She wanted to give them everything, every best possibility to do so. She went out of her way, and I remember this one time, I was the youngest at home, studying, finished my graduation, studying for CAT, aspirational, wanted to do an MBA. I did this whole thing, getting up at 4, going to a Times class, going to the college after the whole drama, right? I got through. I went through the interview, I got the letter of selection, and it asked for a fee. It was a 5 lakh fee. We didn't have that. It was a very painful period at that point in time. On that evening, like I had tears in my eyes, and I said, I fought for this for a year. And my father said, I'll try my best. My mother turned around and she said, it doesn't matter, I'll make it happen. Right? And at that point, it realized for me, personally, women are a part of society, women are a part of that sensitive cloth that holds the world together. But I also realized, if you don't have financial independence for women, it impacts them, right? It impacts the quality of lifestyle, it impacts their decision making. And that is when I started my journey of diversity and inclusion, and for the last 15 years I've been a very strong advocate, but I realized you can't do this just by making sure women have the equal right in society. You have to make them financially independent, you have to make them good employers, you have to get them into organizations. But you can't do this. A mother is a mother. A child will want to go back and hug the mother when the person comes back from school. What are the things that I've done? And this is the space where I, in my role as head of HR for a company like SAP, which is an MNC, the effort that we have put in with respect to making sure there is, our women employees. And I'm at this point, because it's a Women Economic Forum, I'm specifically alluding to women, but we of course do work in generations and autism. But specifically for women, I'd like to call out a few things. One was a back to work program. So a lot of women take career breaks in their life for family reasons, and that's reality of life. You want them to experience that pleasure. But they find it extremely challenging to come back. And that is one big effort. We launched the whole program. We have a lot of women coming back and applying, and we're taking them into workforce, and we give them complete flexibility. They say they want to work for 50%, they want to come for 4 hours, 5 hours. We give that flexibility. So that's one initiative. There's another initiative that I'd like to call out, specifically in the innovation space. Statistics. It's called Business Beyond Bias. Men apply to a job. So when you see a job posting, men apply to a job if you have mandatory criteria and they fit 50% of it. Women apply when they have 110% of it. This is a proven study by Harvard that basically means that a woman will not apply to a job unless she is overqualified for it. There's no wrong intent in the process. What's really hurting is the fact that women undersell themselves. And what I'm doing here is working with technology, so artificial intelligence, machine learning, and text analytics, where we look at job profiles, make them interesting, remove the words which are very masculine so women don't apply, and across every life cycle of an employee in an organization, we're streamlining the processes, so we look at bias and we take that out. Be it equal pay for men and women, be it promotions, progressions, career experiences, development. So those are a few things that we've actively worked on. One additional thing I would like to share is the benefits and the policies part of it. I think we had a crash 7 years before the regulation that came up in June. Extended maternity, a lot of those benefits. I want to talk about miscarriage leave. Miscarriage is a period of a very difficult period for both the husband and the wife. And there's a huge social stigma around it. To be able to discuss it openly, can you even tell your boss that this is what's happening? You're supposed to hold a very strong front. At SAP, we have a formal policy that we allow women to take miscarriage breaks. And we have sensitized our managers to allow them to have that conversation. So that's our little bit and our journey in terms of doing something better for the society. That's what.
Thank you so much. So inspiring. Hats off to your parents. And they're truly lucky to have you. And we are truly lucky to have you as well. Next, I'd like to invite Ms. Parvati Tampi, who is the communication coordinator with MSF India. It's an instrumental medical humanitarian organization that delivers medical care to those in need in situations like conflict, disaster, and epidemics. Welcome.
Parvati takes main stage.
I want to just wish you a very, very happy birthday on behalf of
Wasn't already nervous. Thank you.